Good morning, y'all. Well, our famous lottery man on the street, Jason, has sent us some more cool tickets, this time all the way from Iowa. So let's see what he sent us today. All right. He always likes to put these cool little riddles on what's inside these envelopes. He goes, oh no, you found my little black book. You must have been looking for this crossword. Well, I've got to suspect that it's more crosswords, but what did he send us? All right, send us a cool $10, $100,000 maker crossword from Iowa. And also, isn't that the coolest thing you've ever seen? I've never even heard of this game book, the little black game book. This is going to be a lot of fun to play. And it's got 6 pages of games on this one as well. And what I'm going to do is that I'm going to do this one for tomorrow morning, and then we're going to play this one today. And since it is Sunday, I thought might as well do story time. We've not done story time in a while, and since crosswords take a little longer to play, I thought I might as well throw a nice little story from my past in here. And so let's get started and see how we can do. All right, let's get on to our story. It's not a real long story, but it took place back in 1998. We had taken a family vacation that year to Colorado Springs. My wife and I honeymooned there in 1988, and we thought it'd be fun to take our kids back there years later to show them where we went on our honeymoon. And so our kids were 7 and 4, and we had a great time. Loved Colorado Springs, loved the whole area. Went to the Garden of the Gods, and went to the Cave of the Winds, and Manitou Springs, and up to Pikes Peak. It's just a blast down there. One day we decided we'd go to the Royal Gorge and spend a day trip out there. I think it's only about an hour and a half from Colorado Springs. So we packed the kids up in our Ford Taurus, and we drove out to the Royal Gorge. Spent the day out there, had a blast. It was just a great time. Walked across the bridge. You know, if anybody's ever been there, that's just a really neat thing to see. Walk across that Royal Gorge Bridge and tour that area. So on the way back, it was getting a little bit late. It was around 5 or 5:30, and I think it would have got dark about 7:30 or so, 7:30 or 8. So we decided on the way back, we went through, I believe it's Canyon City, and it's about an hour from Canyon City, I believe, to Colorado Springs. But we found this little side road on the map. Now, remember, this is 1998. The only cell phone we had, of course, no internet, no Google Maps, no anything like that. We just had a paper map. There was no cell service. That we had what was called a purse phone. I don't know if anybody remembers that, but it was called a purse phone because the battery was so huge that you carried it in a little purse. But regardless, there's no cell phone signal out in Colorado at that time. So we had no way to contact anybody, but we thought, hey, here's a quick little way up through Cripple Creek. It was only 30 miles long, and I thought, well, we'll save some time and take this shortcut back to Colorado Springs, and that way we can take one more little side trip to Cripple Creek, because it's an old, kind of a gold town out there, and it was fun to visit that town. So we take this little road called Phantom Canyon Road. So on the map, it looks like a decent road. What we came to find out, it's an old gold miners road. I think it was actually a train railway through there that they had discontinued. So it's cut up through the edge of the mountains, through the cliffs, and through these stone tunnels. But we had gotten about 5 or 10 miles into it and realized this was a mistake. It was getting dark. There is nobody on this road. And we're like, well, what if we broke down? What if we get a flat tire or the car breaks down? We can't call anybody. We're stranded. So we thought, well, it's only 30 miles long. We'll just keep driving, and we'll get to Cripple Creek, and it'll all be behind us. And it was a really beautiful, ride through there, but it was just kind of scary when you got 2 small children in your car. So we're driving through it, and then it kind of turns into this 1-lane dirt road. And these roads are tight. These are on these edge of the cliffs, scary, cutbacks through the mountains, and it's like this was taking, you're going 5 miles an hour. This 30-mile trip was going to end up taking an hour and a half. It was, just remember, the moral story is shortcuts are not always short. So we're going around this one edge of this cliff, and as we approach it, we're about halfway through at this point. Not seeing another car for a good 45 minutes or so. And again, it's just one way. So we're going around this cliff, and I kid you not, in the middle of the road, you always hear about, boulders have to fall and rocks have to fall. You might get some debris on the road. This was a huge boulder, half the size of our car. So, and it was almost in the middle of the road. So I drove up to it and like, what am I going to do? It's not like you're going to push this out of the way. It weighs several tons. And we can't back up down this cliff. It's one way, and there were no turnarounds in that area that we're at, and it was getting dark. So I didn't know what to do, and so being young and stupid, I guess, I thought I'll just go around it. So I walked off the distance of the width of the car and from the boulder to the edge of the cliff, and I thought, hey, I've got about a foot to spare, I can get around this. And so what I did to make sure everybody was safe, I had my wife and 2 kids get out of the car and go to the edge of, the safe side of the cliff. That way, in case when I went around it and the edge gave way and I tumbled down the cliff, at least they would be okay. Was that smart? I don't think that's smart. But anyway, that's what we did. So I got in the car and I edged ever so closely to the edge of that boulder, and I left the door open so I could see how far I was from the edge of the cliff. And I was about a foot. It was scary to open the door and you're looking down that edge of that cliff. But we slowly went around. I'm so glad that edge of the road did not give way, because that would have been a really, really bad thing. But I got around it very slowly, and I so wish we'd have had cell phones or internet or something that would have given us a better directions. But I also wish I could have got that on videotape, because that was pretty crazy. But we got around and we walked. I had the kids and my wife walked around the boulder. We got back in the car. It still took another hour to get to Cripple Creek from that point. I mean, it took forever to get there going that shortcut. But I look back on it, I'm like, no, that was so crazy, because if I'd have fallen down the cliff or something had have happened, I would have left my wife and 2 kids out there in the middle of nowhere. And then I thought, well, if I'd have backed up, that could have happened the same way, because I'm not sure even how I could have backed up down that road. But it was scary. Looking back on it, it's more scary now, but thinking of what could have happened, I'm so glad it all turned out well. But it was definitely an adventure that I will never forget. But again, shortcuts are not always short. And I'm so thankful for Google Maps now and reliable internet. But even in some parts of Colorado, even in vacation down there, there are certain areas, I believe in the San Juan National Forest, that there is no cell service out in that area. So if you're stuck and nobody's going down the road, you're kind of up a creek. But it was called, if you look it up on Google, it was called Phantom Canyon Road. And I think it's only about 30 miles long, but it was crazy. And I can't believe we just took our little Ford Taurus down that road, because it was very dangerous at the time, but didn't know it. Every time it looked like a shortcut, and it definitely wasn't. All right, well, let's see where we're at on this crossword and see if we're getting close to any good wins. Z and W, that Z didn't help us all. We got a few W's there. What are our next 2 letters? They're M and an S. Yeah, we have a few M's. I know a lot of S's. Well, if we can get an A, that will clean up. I am curious, and I know a few of y'all live in Colorado Springs that watch the channel. Have you ever been down Phantom Canyon Road or ever heard of it? And if so, what did you think about it? I think I'd like to go back now, but with like a 4-wheel drive Jeep or something. I wish I had taken a picture of that boulder. It was just so huge. And I guess people didn't travel it a whole lot, so maybe they didn't notify, park services, or I don't know who you notify when you have things like that happen. I don't know if the county takes care of it or what. All right, we have a Q and a B. I don't think a Q is going to help us at all. We do have a couple of B's, and then that red area too. All right, I'm going to check this over here real quick and see if we missed anything. Alright, hope y'all enjoyed the story. I checked this over, and I don't think we have any winners, because I can only see that we've got I and rug and usurp, and which means you have to have 4 at least for a $10 break even, or 2 black words and 2 red words. And so down here, I don't see any red words unless I'm missing something. If I am, comment below and I'll go back and take another look at it. So I don't think any win today, but hope you enjoyed it. Jason, again, thanks so much for sending this over. And remember, tomorrow morning I will have the $20 little black game book up. Y'all have a great and lucky rest of your day, and we'll talk to you later.